Epic Mickey Rebrushed is proof that remakes really do matter. And the reason why I say that is because I like to go back and play the original versions of games on this channel before I play the remakes. And as I was going through Epic Mickey for the first time on the Wii, I enjoyed it. I could see that there were certain elements of the game that, if they were fleshed out or maybe had some quality of life improvements, then this could be a fun game. But as I went on with Epic Mickey on the Wii, the controller got in the way. The game was extremely dark, it was hard to see things. The camera control using the D-pad on the Wii was extremely slow and also very cumbersome, and the camera itself just wasn't great. And then you add in the things like load times between loading into levels, which you will do a lot if you're trying to do side quests. No fast travel to get in between the worlds, which forces you to do 2D sections over and over and over again. And then you come to realize that Epic Mickey, while it had some good ideas, just wasn't fully realized. So, as you can see in that video, I laid out a long list of gripes that I had with the game that could make this game into something that is worth playing. As for the Wii version, I didn't really recommend going back to it all these years later because of those things. And at the end of the video, I laid out a couple of things that I would like to see improved upon in the remake. And I am so happy to say that after nearly beating Epic Mickey Rebrushed, the reason why I nearly beat it is because I ran into a game-breaking bug that hopefully will be fixed, and I will keep you updated in the comments. But apart from that, they did so much to this game to make it not only a good game, I would borderline say now, Epic Mickey Rebrushed is a great game that if you're a fan of 3D platformers, it is well worth playing. Now, I don't want to spend too much time reiterating the points I made in the other video, so if you want to watch that Wii video, then go ahead. But if you don't know, Epic Mickey is a dark 3D platformer with some slight RPG elements where you have quests and you also have a karma system where you can paint things and thin things, and depending on what you do, the world reacts and changes as you go along. Painting things is good, thinning things is evil, and the world and characters react differently to how you do things. And it leads to some pretty interesting things. And on my stream, I got quite depressed that I messed up the ride for one of the gremlins. Why did you do that? Now it'll now... Oh. Oh no! See, this is what I mean, the morality system. I didn't want to do that. The ride is now completely broken. Now what am I going to do? That wasn't very nice. Oh no! And this is a concept that's fantastic because I'm always looking out for platformers that do things just slightly different. This is still a 3D platformer, but now you have that choice and consequence and moral side of it that, you know, gives it a different feel. And the thing is with these quests on the Wii version is that there's a lot of backtracking. You will go to Mean Street or Main Street, USA, and you will interact with some character. He will give you a quest. Go to Oztown. And the problem with the Wii version was that you had to then go from Mean Street to do the 2D section to get into Oztown, and then go to Oztown, do whatever you need to do there, and then back out by doing the 2D section in reverse to get to Mean Street, and then talk to the character. And when you add in having to redo 2D sections a lot, which you will be doing if you want to, you know, nearly 100% this game, you will be going through these levels a lot, and I mean a lot. But now in the remake, they've added in a skip system where if you talk to the gremlin just outside of the warp room, you will have to pay them 10 tickets to skip the 2D section. And this is the #1 quality of life improvement that I wanted, and I am so glad they did it because now I've done almost every single one of the quests because I just like collecting things in platforms. You know, it is a collectathon 3D platformer. So going around, finding this item for this character and sort of deciding if I want to do the good or bad thing, it's just really fun. And the fact that I can now just travel between the worlds, I don't have to do the 2D sections, it's just such a little tiny quality of life improvement that makes a massive difference to the overall experience. Now, if I'm being, you know, greedy and want more, I would have liked to be able to fast travel to the levels in the menus to kind of speed things up a bit. But, you know, that's a minor gripe. But maybe you could make the argument that, oh, they want you to understand the levels better so that they force you to go through them. And I can take that compromise. Being able to fast travel past these 2D sections is absolutely amazing. And then you get into all the other improvements and you realize just how good this game is now. So, in the original version, it was extremely dark. Now, this game is a dark, depressing world of, you know, tinned paint and evil blottlings running around. And, you know, it's this twisted take on loads of famous Disney locations. And from that aspect, it's fantastic. And on the Wii, even on a CRT where I'm playing it the intended way, or if I'm using the HDMI upscaler, which, you know, is kind of a bit cheap and, you know, it does an okay job and not amazing, the game was extremely dark, like overly dark, even if I turn up the brightness settings. And it actually made it quite difficult to understand exactly what the game was telling me to do, because one of my main issues with the base game was that I felt they didn't really teach you the language well. But now I can actually see things, which is a massive thing because I understand the language of this game now. I know when I see certain things that the game is trying to tell me, oh, if you thin this, then you can go here, or if you paint this, you can use that as a platform. Whereas in the original game, I found it kind of difficult. And another major improvement is that you have full camera movement. And in the base game, you did have full camera movement. But it felt like you didn't because it was fairly close in. The camera was way jankier than it is in the remake now. But also, you moved the camera with the D-pad on the Wiimote, and it was genuinely one of the slowest cameras I have ever seen in a game. And it meant that on the Wii version, everything was dark, so it was hard to see. And then even if I wanted to see and I wanted to take my time to look around, it was just, you know, kind of slow. Not kind of slow, extremely slow and boring to do so. So with the Wii version, I did kind of mainline it because of that. But now, because I can see everything, and I have full 3D camera movement that isn't really slow, I understood what this game was trying to tell me, and I completely take back that criticism of what I said about the Wii version, because it's not the game itself not teaching you it, it's the camera and everything else that kind of gets in the way of the game being able to teach you. Now again, it's still a criticism of the game, but it's a lot less egregious now that I realise what the actual issue was with it. And then just in general, Mickey controls better. There was a couple of platforming sections in the Wii version where I not exactly struggled, but I died more than I would have liked to, and it did feel like it was more the game's fault than mine. And now that Mickey has better movement, he has a dash, he has a sprint, he also has his spin attack that extends the jump. And I think the spin attack did extend the jump in the original game, but not as much, and it didn't really feel like it extended it. Where here, you jump, you do the spin attack, you can see and feel instantly that your jump is extended, and it makes a massive difference to the platforming. It just felt extremely smooth, extremely fluid. Now, it does have that THQ Nordic purple lamp kind of jank to it, where you might jump on something that maybe you shouldn't have and you will fall off it, or, you know, there'll be a part where you thought you made that jump, but your character will just slip off the edge, even though it feels like you should have made it. It does have that, you know, PS2/Wii, PS3 era platformer, specifically a THQ platformer, which is a charm that I will admit I do like, but that's just because I have nostalgia for it. So I think if you don't have nostalgia for that kind of, you know, Battle for Bikini Bottom or Epic Mickey or them kind of platformers, or TAC, you know, I think that could annoy you to a certain extent. Now, one little quality of life improvement that I would have liked to see in this is that since you get so many quests in the game, it's sometimes hard to realize which NPCs gave them to you. Eventually, like, you will learn, okay, Horsecollar, he's the detective guy, so I know where he is. But then you'll get like Moody or Gus or just very generic names of characters in worlds, and you're like, who's this? It's like, go talk to Moody in Oztown. It's like, who's Moody? I don't know who Moody is. So then you'll go to Oztown, and then you will talk to every single NPC, and then eventually you'll realize, oh, that's Moody. Okay, that makes sense now. But more than likely you'll forget it, because later on it's, you know, 5 hours later, you're not going to remember who this generic pirate is. And maybe Moody isn't a generic pirate, I don't know, but, you know, I'm not a big Peter Pan fan. What I would have liked to see is if they added in not quest markers on the map. I mean, they could have done that, would have been nice, but at the very least, just had something over somebody's head if they had a quest, or if you could turn a quest into them. That would have been just a nice little addition that they could have done, and it wouldn't have taken that much, and it would have, you know, removed that. It's not overly frustrating, but it would have just been a nice thing to see. Now, unfortunately, I am close to the final boss door, but the world has actually not spawned in for me. I don't know the level. You can actually see the sheer point where the level has failed to load. I've deleted the game, reinstalled it, I have closed the game, I've tried different things. I can't find a fix for it right now. I will show footage of it. It's not a spoiler because it really doesn't show anything spoilery, but just to show that I can't actually beat the game. Now, this is Purple Lamp, this is THQ Nordic. These are things that I expect in these kind of games, and if we're going off Purple Lamp's track record, it should be fixed. But obviously, if you're coming to this for almost a review of the game, I can't really recommend it because I did, you know, get that bug. Everything beforehand was fantastic. I genuinely adored the game. And that's why it proves to me that remakes really do matter. Because Epic Mickey was a game that was flawed. Like, it's flawed within its makeup, not just the little quality of life improvements that, you know, Purple Lamp did do to it. But what I can say now is that with these quality of life improvements, the special sauce that Epic Mickey very clearly has and maybe wasn't fully realized shines through that slight bit more. Is this like an absolute amazing platformer, like 10 out of 10? No, it isn't. But is it now a much more playable game, and a game that I would say that I would genuinely say, apart from that game-breaking bug, which hopefully will be fixed, I will update you in the comments as I said. Apart from that, I would say that Epic Mickey Rebrushed is a genuinely great game now because of them quality of life improvements. It feels smoother, it runs smoother, it looks smoother. I can understand what the game is telling me. Fast traveling between levels is, you know, a much needed improvement, and it also means that the quests, the main sort of gimmick to this game, the paint tinning mechanic and the quests that make this stand out from other games, are just so much easier to interface with because you have faster loading times, you can skip the levels, the menus are faster, and all of these little improvements make this into a great game that hopefully it will be fixed. I genuinely adored running through this. It is annoying that I haven't been able to finish it, but hopefully it gets fixed, and I said that about 10 times in this video. But if you are interested in my thoughts on the original Epic Mickey and more about the game itself, then get this video here. I can never get this right. I always do it the wrong side because it's always mirrored. But over here is where you will find it. I really appreciate the support on the channel. It's been absolutely amazing. We've already hit 300 subscribers. Many views on a lot of the videos. I hope you enjoyed them all. And October is the spooky month. So look forward to Silent Hill 2 on the PS2. I'm gonna crap myself. And then Sonic X Shadow Generations out at the end of the month. I will be playing through Shadow the Hedgehog. I'll be playing through Sonic Generations, and I hope you look forward to that. Or as the Japanese presenters say, please look forward to it. I appreciate you. Goodbye.